The announcement of The Last of Us TV series was a shock to many, as it's not exactly something people thought would get a video game to TV adaptation anytime soon. Regardless of what people are saying about the show being bad already, many fans are excited about this adaptation and want to know as much as they can. So, what is happening behind the scenes of the series, and what do we know about it? Well, stay tuned, because today we're going to cover everything you need to know about the new Last of Us TV series and how some other Last of Us news. First up, we have the Last of Us TV show release date. One director says 2022. First thing people are mainly asking is, when will the show release? We know that the show has already begun filming and has had some set leaks, but when should we begin expecting to see this series on our screens? Whilst we don't have a concrete release date for HBO's The Last of Us TV series, we do have some idea on how long fans will have to be waiting. The first set photo was released a few months ago, but the series hasn't finished production just yet. Fans should expect the series to carry on production into June of 2022, so the show should release during the end of 2022 at the earliest. One director, Kantemir Balagov, has listed 2022 on their Instagram page. While that's certainly not unrealistic, it feels like more of a placeholder instead of anything official. Yes, it's going to be quite a while until we see the series on our screens, but production seems to be going smoothly, so hopefully this series should be really well done. Next up is The Last of Us TV show story enhanced, but will it adapt both games? The only thing we actually know about this series so far is what HBO stated through their synopsis of the series. According to them, the story takes place 20 years after modern civilization has been destroyed. Joel, a hardened survivor, is hired to smuggle Ellie, a 14-year-old girl, out of an oppressive quarantine zone. What starts out as a small job soon becomes a brutal, heartbreaking journey, as they both must traverse across the US and depend on each other for survival. It's also been revealed that this new HBO series is set to adapt the original game and all of its events, but we could also see some content from its sequel, The Last of Us 2, seep in towards the end. The most likely thing is that the second series would take place through the sequel storyline, or possibly even do its own thing. According to GamesRadar.com, a separate report from the publication indicates that future seasons are a possibility, meaning this is unlikely to be a Chernobyl-style miniseries, but instead one that will stretch out over several years. The mention of sequel story beats making their way into the HBO series should also whet the appetite of many who enjoyed The Last of Us 2. The first season, meanwhile, is set to last for 10 episodes. It's not yet known if the first season will cover the entirety of the first game's events. Co-creator Craig Mazin has also hinted that The Last of Us HBO series may be a more definitive version of the game's story, telling the BBC, "In this case, I'm doing it with Neil Druckmann, and so the changes that we're making are designed to fill things out and expand. Not to undo, but rather to enhance." In the same interview, he added that the TV series will include a moment not in the games that will make our jaws drop. Druckmann seriously has some amazing things to say on the matter as well, so what has he said? And now, what else has Neil Druckmann said about the project? During an interview with EW, Neil Druckmann spoke about his challenges with creating this new series and bringing the story of the original game into a live-action series for HBO. You have to figure out, with a TV show, how it communicates ideas or tells stories. In removing the interactivity of the story, how do you make it unique for this other medium? It's an interesting challenge, and I think there's a lot to learn from it. Craig Mazin had ideas about how to adapt the show. It became intriguing to work with another creative who I admire. It just became a no-brainer, and to do it under the umbrella of HBO and all their content, Troy Baker, who plays Joel in both The Last of Us and its sequel, has full faith in the story adaptation versus the original plans to turn it into a movie. The thing that encourages me most about the HBO show is that while there were a lot of people in Hollywood that stood up and took notice of The Last of Us and its success and were thinking, "Oh, a lot of people like this, we should turn it into a movie," Craig Mazin came at it from a fan's perspective. Baker told Fandom in a recent interview he just wants everybody to know this experience. So who's playing Joel and Ellie? The main characters of the video game are Joel and Ellie. So ever since the project was announced, fans were hoping for some amazing actors to play these two complex characters. Both of these characters need to be faithful and true to the original material, otherwise the show would just fail before before anyone even wanted to watch it. Luckily, the casting for the show has been amazing so far, and fans are now happy with the choices for Ellie and Joel. So, who's playing them? Well, according to GamesRadar.com, The Last of Us TV show has its Joel, The Mandalorian's Pedro Pascal, aka television's favorite dad, will be taking on the series' lead male role, and Troy Baker, the actor behind Joel in the video game, has given the casting decision his seal of approval. This is the way. Full support. Full stop. Can't wait for you to show me a side of Joel I never knew. Pedro. He posted on Instagram. Pascal will be joined by fellow Game of Thrones alumni Bella Ramsey as Ellie, which seems an ideal fit. With her role as the fan favorite Lady Lyanna Mormont in Game of Thrones, Ramsey has already proven herself more than capable of playing a fierce, confident, show-stealing character. Other than these two main characters, we also have some other main characters from the original games who have been cast already. Gabriel Luna will be playing Joel's younger brother Tommy, who plays a huge role in the original game. Merle Dandridge is going to be playing Marlene, the leader of the Fireflies. She also happened to play the character in the video game as well. Nico Parker is going to play Sarah, Joel's daughter, who he lost in the early days of the outbreak. Nick Offerman is playing Bill, whilst Murray Bartlett is set to play Frank. Finally, we have Anna Torv, who will be playing Tess, a pretty important character to Joel and the others during the original game. There are many other characters yet to be announced, but it looks like the series will be adhering to the game pretty well. And finally, we have what set photos do we have already? Though the show is clearly still in production and hasn't finished filming just yet, we do still have some set photos that came from the cast and crew for the past few months of filming. Games Radar gave a description of these released set photos. The first set photo from The Last of Us production has surfaced, all thanks to Tommy actor Gabriel Luna. Luna appears alongside Pedro Pascal and Sarah actor Nico Parker, perhaps hinting that they're filming the tragic opening to The Last of Us. If you know, you know. Another two batches have also given us the first look at the series' sprawling sets. Could this be the Boston QZ where Joel and Ellie first meet? Another set of photos certainly back that theory up. Meanwhile, another photo shows Pedro Pascal wearing clothes that look extremely close to Joel's getup from the original game, and others show off how Canmore, Alberta will be transformed into Jackson, Wyoming. Yet another new batch shows Joel, Ellie, and Tess on a set covered in cordyceps, the fungus that infects and turns people into groaning, gnashing killer zombies. Then there's another batch that shows Joel and Ellie on horseback, as well as what seems to be the University of Eastern Colorado. These photos are all over social media, so seek them out if you want a better look. And that is the end of today's video on The Last of Us.